What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today, I just wanted to quickly talk about the entire controversy that's surrounding, Claudine Gay, her firing, and, everything, in regards to that. The reason why I want to talk about it is because I feel like out of all of the reactions I've seen, nobody is actually truly giving an honest analysis in regards to what we just saw happen. I mean, you have some people say, oh, it's plagiarism. You have some people saying, oh, it's anti-racism. You got now Bill Ackman and Elon Musk that can but I feel like no one is really giving an honest explanation as to really what we just had, right? Let me just break this out, right? First, let me just go ahead and say this, okay? There are a lot of black men right now who are online, and especially the ones who are in the black manosphere, celebrating the firing. I don't want to say fire. I will say, because even though she wasn't fired, even though Claudine Gay resigned, it's obvious that she was forced to resign. So it was technically a firing, right? Who were kind of celebrating her being let go. Let me just say this a little. I understand the point of view of many black men out there, in regards to the fact that they feel like black women sort of threw black people on the bus so they could be essentially proxy class for white feminism. I get that. But this is not what this is. We can have that conversation another time, right? But what black men need to understand, right, is that the reason why they went at Claudine Gay wasn't really because, quote unquote, right, they're trying to go at feminism. Because you have to understand, right? For a lot of folks on the right, they still need white women to support them. You have to understand this, right? White women essentially are equally supporting this anti-DI, diversity stuff as white men are. All right, that's the reason why when the president of UPenn, right, University of Pennsylvania, stepped down, they didn't bring up DI. They didn't bring up diversity because that was a white female. They just said, oh, it's antisemitism, right? But when it came time to the black female president of Harvard, all of a sudden now it's about reverse discrimination. It's about DI. So what I'm saying here is this: although I understand from the point of view of many black men and black males that, hey, black women essentially have thrown black men on the bus for white feminism, I get that. This situation is very different. This is a different situation, right? Because what we just saw happen is two things, right? We just saw essentially white Jews and the white right team up to go essentially against this black female, right? Well, actually, really, they're going against in regards to, they're going against really the established social order in these university campuses, right? The DI, so that's it, right? But you have to understand why. One, when it comes to the white right, for a very long time, they have had this, and to be fair, even saying the white right is not honest, because even a lot of white people on the left, although they may pander to black folks, pander to minorities, many of them feel this way too. They're just not vocal about it. But when it comes to white folks, especially the ones on the right, there has been this feeling from their point of view that, white people are being discriminated. Like that's a real thing. Like, they genuinely feel like anti-white racism is running rampant. Despite the fact that the majority of the country, despite the fact of most of the wealth, they feel this way, specifically white males, right? The issue they were having is that how do you, quote unquote, push the reverse racism argument while not alienating both the Jews, and white females? Because one, a lot of white women, right, although they may align when it comes to race, they also have this concern about gender, about sex and gender, right? And they have no problem with them getting privilege based on white, but from their point of view, they feel like whenever white men talk about reverse racism or anti-racism, right, they feel like that is just a proxy for white men to put them back into a subordinate position or to take away white female rights. Because you understand, when white women when white women decide to push for white feminism, they don't really care about other groups of women. What they're really pushing for is they want to have a better position within the white power structure. Okay, they're willing to use other non-white women, but really the center is about, increasing their position within the white power structure. This is the reason why the moment in which feminism stopped the centering white women and started centering other groups of women, all of a sudden white women became these anti-feminists, right? So it became critiques of feminism, right? Because for them, feminism is also supposed to be about white female rights. That's also the reason why it's obsession over trans right now, right? So they had to figure out, how do we go against, quote unquote reverse racism, anti-racism, without alienating white women, right? So what they essentially did was essentially focus on how, look at all these now white minority groups, specifically black people, who are getting all these, positions, all this stuff that they don't deserve, right? So they focused it from that point of view, and they were able to get white female support. So that's the angle in which a lot of white folks, especially the white conservatives, are coming from. Now, when it comes to the white Jews, right, historically, right, white Jews, although they spread across the political aisle, there has always been this sense of understanding amongst the white Jews that white people, specifically on the right, typically do not like them. Right? It doesn't mean that white people on the left also love them, but historically they have seen that whenever you see a rise of anti-Semitism or a rise of folks going against Jews, it typically comes from white nationalists or folks on the right, right? Because I'm giving an example. Whenever I debate people on the right about slavery or something, right, the first thing they want to do is talk about, the Jays or the Jews, right? So for a very long time, Jews have in many ways, especially in America, white Jews, right, have in many ways been aligned with these sort of left movements. Some were on the right, like Ben Shapiro, but I would say the vast majority of them, aligned themselves with the quote-unquote the white left against the white right, because they felt like the white right was a bigger threat when it came to antisemitism, right? Now, what would change, right? Why are we seeing all of these white Jews now making this truce with white conservatives to go against DEI and diversity and woke? The reason has to do with the Hamas attack on October 7th. Now, first, I'm gonna say, what are you talking? Hammer, what are you talking about? Follow me. Let me. I'll walk you through it, right? Before October 7th, I will say the vast majority of white Jews, especially the white wealthy Jews, were essentially aligned, with the whole DEI thing for the most part. They may have their own issues with it, but they felt like DEI, properly included anti-Semitism. They felt like DEI, diversity, the sort of white leftist social infrastructure was much more better for them compared to what the white right was proposing, right? Especially when they see how every other minute there's a white person online talking about the Jews. But when October 7th happened, they noticed how a lot of, although the quote-unquote white right stood behind Israel because of the white evangelical support, which is funny because a lot of the white evangelicals don't understand that, hey, when it comes to white Jews, many of them do not, I will say the majority of people in Israel don't really support, I will say a good percentage, if not a majority of people in Israel, don't support Jesus Christ, don't believe in Christianity. Many of them don't even align with Jesus, but they don't believe he's the Messiah, right? That's a lot of Jews in Israel. So it's funny how, a lot of white evangelicals don't notice, but they go so hard for Israel. But nevertheless, right, after October 7th, a lot of the white conservatives stood by and aligned themselves with Israel because of the large amount of white evangelicals on the right. But a lot of folks on the left, right, they rightfully called out the genocide, the Palestinians being taken out. Now, because it was mostly the white left, after October 7th, that was having a much more critical analysis of the apartheid state of Israel, a lot of Jews, especially the wealthy ones, saw this as anti-Semitism coming from the left. So on one hand, historically, they've understood that, hey, yes, there's anti-Semitism on both sides, but they've understood that, hey, anti-Semitism does tend to be much more stronger on the right, especially the far right. So they align more with the left. Now, after October 7th, they're seeing all this criticism against the state of Israel from the left in regards to the treatment of Palestinians. And they're seeing how the white right, who historically has been anti-Semitic, is now all of a sudden supporting Israel because of the large influence of white evangelicals, right? Really, for religious reasons, right? So a lot of Jews, white Jews, especially the the wealthy ones saw this as anti-Semitism on the left against Jews, and so you sort of see a large campaign of Jews, wealthy Jewish owners, right? I mean, you had others, but for the most part, it was really Jews and wealthy Jewish owners that essentially mobilized, saying, because they were literally all over the media, right? We gotta stop all this pro-Palestinian rhetoric. We gotta stop all this criticism. If you criticize Israel or if you're pro-Palestinian, this is anti-Semitic. So this is what they were going on. Right? Even Bill Ackman, right? Bill Ackman, who is now going around calling for the end of DI, because right now Bill Ackman, right, is in this feud with Mark Cuban. So Elon Musk and Bill Ackman, both billionaires, right? Bill Ackman is Jewish, are coming out talking about how we gotta end DI, we gotta end all this woke stuff, right? Remember, Bill Ackman as a Jew, he wasn't saying this before October 7th. He's only saying this now because a lot of Jews, especially the wealthy white ones, feel like the rising number of criticism, especially from the left, against Israel and against the bad treatment of Palestinians, they view that as an attack on Jews. So now what we have seen is white Jews, specifically the white wealthy ones, a lot of them now have sort of made this truce with the white conservatives. The white conservatives have always railed against, diversity and right? But the problem is that for the most part, they was always viewed as fringe. So now that they've sort of formed this truce, this sort of temporary alliance with white Jays who feel like, the quote unquote white leftists or the left has sort of abandoned Jews in favor of Palestinians, together now they're on this anti-woke campaign, right? I mean, that's what's also going on. But here's what people don't understand. When you have a lot of Jews who are rallying, who are calling out university campuses, right, you have to understand that they weren't doing this before, right? Before October 7th, for the most part, they had no problem doing it. They had no problem, being diverse. They had no problem doing these things. But because after October 7th, they felt like, the DI social infrastructure, the white leftists, the sort of woke social infrastructure, especially on university campuses, they felt like the leftist social infrastructure did not take anti-Semitism seriously enough after October 7th. And so because of this, they felt like the left had abandoned the Jews, and so many of them were willing to make an allegiance with the white right. Even though historically, and they noticed that the real anti-Semites on the right. Yes, we have anti-Semites on the left, but the real anti-Semites on the right. Now, why am I talking about the Jews? It's because white conservatives have always tried to do this. But the only thing I'm seeing how a lot of white wealthy Jews, or not Jews specifically, are aligning with them because they feel like the left has abandoned them when it comes to anti-Semitism, because from their point of view, the fact that you have so many people on the left criticizing Israel and criticizing the treatment of Palestinians, they view that as a white left turning on the Jews. They view it as a white left, being anti-Semitic, which is crazy to me, right? And so, what people need to understand is that when you then started to see this major campaign against the university presidents of MIT, Harvard, and UPenn who resigned, right? This really had nothing to do with DI or plagiarism, like what we saw with Claudine Gay. What this had to do is that, on one hand, you had essentially a large number, because here's the look. What originally sparked the backlash against these university presidents was the fact that many of them said they were being anti-Semitic, right? But when it comes to the white right, they didn't care about that. What they really wanted to do was use the anti-Semitism as a proxy to go at the quote unquote social infrastructure of DEI and all that stuff, because they saw that as being anti-white, as being discriminatory against white people, right? Or the discriminate against white males. And then when it came to the Jews, when they went at these university presidents, right, although they may have cited other things like plagiarism, especially when it comes to Claudine Gay, it was really about them, the anti-Semitism, right? So when you look at sort of the growing number of Jewish donors pulling back the funds or threatening to stop funding universities, when you see the growing number of Jewish people watching Fox, the growing number of Jewish folks going on Fox News, the growing number of Jewish people aligning with the white right, the growing number of Jews, the Jews who went after the university presidents, all of this has to do with the fact that many white Jews feel like they have been betrayed, or that the white left has sort of sided with the Palestinians, and so they're temporarily aligning with the white right to go at essentially social infrastructure of the left. That's all it is. And this then brings me back to the situation of Claudine Gay. Okay? The reason why Claudine Gay being pushed out was huge, because number one, when they forced out the UPenn president, right, they did not make it about DI or diversity, because once again, that's a white woman, right? They still need white women on board, right? So they just said, oh, it's about antisemitism, right? Even though they're pushing for the president of MIT and that, right? They're not making it about DI or diversity. It's only when it came to the black president of Harvard, then all of a sudden it became about diversity. Once again, she's a black female, so bringing up diversity, woke, in regards to her, won't alienate the quote-unquote white female base in regards to the white right. But number two, they're able to kill two birds with one stone, right? The white conservatives are able to use Claudine Gay as a proxy to go at the entire, diversity, affirmative action, DI, what they view as anti-white social infrastructure, and the Jews are able to use her essentially as a proxy to use her as a lesson in regards to the white left and how much they've been pro-Palestinian, right? So that's the reason why she was the perfect target. And I feel like a lot of black men, I understand how you feel, but this I feel about, her being in a position of power and how, as a black female, she was used as sort of this black girl mask. I get it, but that's not what this was about. Them going after her was her being used as a proxy to go at the entire diversity, civil rights, affirmative, all that stuff, all these sort of, what they brand as the woke social influence on the left. That's what it was about. Right? And the white Jews, specifically the white wealthy ones who historically have been against the white right because they saw them as being more of a threat to the Jews, had now essentially aligned with them because they felt like, once again, the white left had abandoned them in favor of Palestinians. So at first I was happy that Harvard was sticking by her, but when you sort of see so many wealthy donors, especially the white Jewish wealthy donors, threaten to pull funds, threaten to not donate, all of a sudden they force her to resign. And you notice how ever since Claudine Gay resigned, you now have this large amount of white conservatives and white Jews going against DI, going against diversity. And the crazy part I have is that I love how this entire situation is being framed as going against anti-white racism. That just kills me. Going against... Now, the white Jews who understood that when the white right says this, they don't include you, right? Because for the most part, if you go on the white right, they don't really view Jews well. Like, and I hate to bring it up, but, this is, in my opinion, this is the reason why whenever I have conversations with white conservatives about slavery and Jim Crow, and they want to bring up the Jews, oh, what was Jews? I don't take that shit seriously. Because I said, look, you guys may have your own issues with the Jews. You guys may not view them as purely white. But one thing I know for a fucking fact is that whenever the time comes for you to go at black people, you guys will align with the Jews based on whiteness. So I don't want to hear all this Jew conversation. And this situation with Claudine Gay, the situation with the whole anti-Semitism stuff, this proves my point. Despite all the rhetoric about Jews, when the time came to go at black folk, when the time came to go at the whole diversity stuff, or to align on the interests of the white collective, all of a sudden, you guys had no problem aligning with the white Jews you had no problem aligning with the Jews and essentially accept them as white. Now, here's the thing. After this, they'll go right back to calling Jews not white. But now, they've temporarily made a truce, and they're temporarily honoring the whiteness of Jews. So that's the reason why from now on, I better not hear any more white person on the right talking to me about the Jays. I don't want to hear anymore. The Jew, I don't want to hear anymore, because now you've exposed to me what I've always known, that at the end of the day, you guys pick and choose when you want to say that Jews are not white. When it benefits you, Jews are white. When it doesn't benefit, Jews are not white. So I want to make that very clear. But what's so funny is how now you have this whole thing about anti-racism, right? Now, it's funny how the vast majority of wealth, the vast majority of positions, the vast majority of privilege in this country goes towards white people, right? And I would even make the argument that really towards white females, right? But despite this, right, a lot of, white folks, especially, because look, a lot of white people on the left feel this way too, but I'm focusing on the right because they have been the ones that have been much more open about this, right? But they're all white people on the left feel this way. So even despite all of the advantage they have, the fact that they have been seeing too many white faces and the fact that they have been seeing too many white faces, the fact that they have been seeing too many non-white faces in too many places, now all of a sudden that's being viewed as anti-racism, right? And so, they have had this long campaign against what they viewed as this growing anti-racism in the form of the promotion of non-white people. And now you have Jews who feel like the left has abandoned them and they're aligning with the right. Now, why does this matter to me? The reason why it matters because out of all the people who've been covering the situation, no one has actually talked about the elephant in the room. What you're really seeing is white Jews, specifically wealthy white Jews who traditionally have aligned with the left, have essentially come to a truce with the whites on the right to go at these diversity initiatives. That's what you're saying. They are willing to now take on the talking points, carry the talking points of anti-white discrimination, as long as they get to go at the quote-unquote white leftists who they believe have sided with Palestinians against them. That's what it's all about. They're trying to punish the white left, punish all the people on the left who decided to be pro-Palestine instead of being pro-Israeli. And so, they will rather have a temporary truce with the white right in order to destroy the social infrastructure of leftism, of the white left, as a way to punish them or destroy what they view as a pro-Palestinian, anti-Israeli movement on the left. And also as a way to, from their point of view, reprioritize anti-Semitism over all the other isms. So what you need to understand here, that's really what's going on. And it's so fascinating seeing this happen in real time, right? The white conservatives who traditionally will talk about the Jew thing, the Jews who traditionally go at Jews, talking about how they're not white, all of a sudden have no problem aligning with the Jews, accepting them as white and talking about anti-Semitism. And the white Jews who traditionally have talked about how, white conservatives, have the most anti-Semitism, right? Now all of a sudden are willing to align with the white right, talking about how the white left has all anti-Semitism, and they're willing to align with the white right to go against the diversity and social infrastructure of the white left. And now they're framing the white left as being the real anti-Semites. So it's crazy. Right? But what concerns me the most about all of this is that I personally fear that what's going to happen is that black people are going to once again be a casualty. I'm like, yeah, they're going to go against the diversity initiatives when it comes to Hispanics, Asians, LGBT, all that stuff, right? But really, right, even white women, despite them not saying it, that white females are going to be included too, although they did become better at hiding that part. But even with all of that, let's be honest here. when they talk about going against diversity, going against equity, when they talk about anti-white racism, what they're really saying is there's too many niggers in these positions. That's really what they're saying. Right? Yes, they may have a problem with Hispanics or Asians being in certain positions. They may have a problem with white women being in certain positions. But from their point of view, as much as they don't like that, that's not the priority. From their point of view, the priority when they talk about diversity and anti-white racism is there are too many niggers around here. There are too many niggers. That's really what they're saying. Now, up until now, right, they were not able to get enough social capital to do what they want to do. But because a lot of Jews felt betrayed by the white leftists because so many people on the left supported Palestine, they were willing, especially the wealthy white Jews, to temporarily align with the white right to help. So in other words, the sort of non-written rule here is, hey, as a white Jewish collective, as a wealthy white Jews, we will help you go at the diversity stuff. We will help you push the idea of anti-racism. We will help you go at the niggers because from my point of view, there are too many black people out here waving Palestinian flags. We'll help you do all these things as long as you help us, prioritize anti-Semitism over all other isms, as long as you help us destroy the social infrastructure of the white left, as long as you help us punish the left for the pro-Palestinian stance. That's sort of the sort of de facto allegiance that we're seeing happening right now. And unfortunately, although all of the other minority groups get affected, it's going to be black people. The same thing happened with affirmative action, right? Affirmative action was supposed to be about black folks, but what did we see? White females benefited the most. Civil rights was supposed to be about black people. We see black people actually benefit the least from civil rights. So we see this all the time. Whenever these conversations come up, it's almost like whenever programs are done for diversity stuff, black people benefit the least, and whenever there's a backlash against diversity, black people are targeted the most. It's it's weird. It's a weird situation. That's the reason why I did not, although I sympathize with many black men who feel like they've been betrayed by black women because so many black women have been online talking about black gold magic. So many black women have been online with white feminism. I get where they're coming from. At the end of the day, I still will stand with Claudine Gay because I knew that, hey, when they go at Claudine Gay, they're not going at her for the reason we are. Like, we may feel a certain kind of way about what she represents in terms of the whole, in terms of black women aligning with white feminism, but you have to understand that when all of these other groups go at her, that's not what, they don't care about that. They view her as a proxy of going at, black folks and the fact that, there are too many niggers in these places. That's really what they're saying. Yeah, they'll say, they don't talk about how it's about, going against diversity much more broadly, but really, the focus is really black folks, right? Now, other groups may get affected, but you're going to be the main target. Especially considering the fact that a lot of white Jews feel like it was mostly black people that were pro-Palestine. I mean, just come on. So I'm angry right now. So it truly is fascinating to me that, the anti-white racism narrative that at one point was in the fringe has not become mainstream. And it's been helped. The white Jews has essentially have made a truce with the white right in order to help them not just mainstream this, but together to essentially go at white leftist institutions in order to force them not just to get rid of these initiatives, but to essentially, from their point of view, prioritize antisemitism. So it's a truce. That's what it is, right? We will help the white right. The white Jews will essentially allow the white right and help them go at these diversity initiatives, which really what they're saying is, there are too many niggers around here, and the white right will essentially help the Jews, punish the left for the pro-Palestinian cause and prioritize anti-Semitism over all isms. That's what's going on. And once again, black folks essentially end up here in a situation which by ourselves. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating. But although I am angry. And listen, look, after the situation, I better not hear any more white person talking to me about Jews not white. Because I just saw in my own eyes how you guys align with them based on whiteness against us, right? Yes, you're going at other groups, but it's really against black people. Because that's the reason why you hyper-focus on Claudine Gay so much. You didn't hyper-focus on the white president. I'm like, yeah, y'all went after the UPenn president, but really, the hyper-focus on her, come on, that was racial. That's when so I better not hear, after this, I better not hear any more white person talking about how Jews are not white. I better not hear it anymore. And when it comes to white Jews, I better not hear you guys talking about how you guys are not white anymore. Because what you've shown us is that when push comes to shove, you will align with the white collective in order to push your interest. You just showed your process, right? When push comes to shove, you guys lately view yourself as an extension of whiteness. So all this rhetoric about, oh, you know, you can call us white, oh, we're not the same, that's done now. Because that with Bill Ackman, you've shown us what you guys really are. That at the end of the day, although white people may be more resistant towards the Jews, although white people may not accept you as fully, at the end of the day, if they have to choose between you and other non-white, especially black folks, they will align with you first based on whiteness. So I better not hear any more conversations about how Jews are being attacked by whites. I don't want to hear anymore, right? Because now you've shown us that when push comes to shove, y'all will put that to the side to go at black folks based on whiteness. Yeah, you go at other non-white here, but really at black people based on whiteness. Okay, and I think for a lot of black people, look, all you can do right now, I think, is prepare for what's gonna come. Right? You're gonna start seeing a massive push. I'm like, you already seeing corporations cutting back on DI and stuff. So you're gonna see a massive push of people cutting it back against DI. You're gonna see a massive push of people, you know, because one thing that is so funny to me is how whenever a white person is in a position, the assumption is that, oh, that's they deserve to be there. So a white person being in a position, right? That's they you know, it's always interpreted as, oh, that white person deserves to be there. When a black person is there, it's always, oh, they just got there because they're black. So you know, they may do this to other groups like white women or Latinos, LGBT. For the most part, these arguments really mostly come up when they see black folks. And once again, what they're really saying is there's too many niggers in too many places. That's what they really say. That's what they really say. So expect that, right? And trust me, black folks will bear, yeah, other groups will be affected, you know, white will be affected, but I think a lot of white women, right? White women, in my opinion, they are willing to go along with it because a lot of them do feel like white feminism no longer centers them anymore, right? When feminism centered white females, they were on board. Now that feminism is centering non-white females, they're essentially going back to being white first, right? So just prepare yourself for this, okay? You're going to start seeing more programs being cut down. You're going to start seeing anti-white racism being more mainstream. You're going to start seeing you're going to start seeing a lot of black folks, you know, especially ones who are high pushing, being attacked, saying, oh, you know, you only got here because of affirmative. You're going to see that a lot. You're going to see that a lot, right? You're going to see that a lot. So prepare yourself for that, right? Now, I don't know what black women are going to do because black women for a very long time have been out here hugging white feminism. And so it's funny how white females have essentially threw you under the bus, right? You know, in order to align with whiteness. So I will see. Maybe we'll see black women all of a sudden recognize that race, you know, matters again. Because for a very long time, they thought it was gender. Look, let's keep it real with you. Gender really only matters within the in-group. When you have a group of people, gender dynamics, sex dynamics really only matter within the group. Outside of the group, that doesn't really matter. Outside of the group, people are going to deal with you based on the position and based on the power that your group is in. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. When you deal with folks outside your group, the treatment you get, the stuff you receive, all that is predicated on the position your overall group is in, and that is predicated on the power and resources that the men are in. So hopefully this is a wake-up call for black feminists. But with that being said, black folks, black men and black women, prepare yourself. This is what's coming, right? DI is being cut back. Diversity is being cut back. They're going to start going at black people. Other non-white groups may be affected, but you are going to be the main target, right? But I think for me to kind of wrap the video, before I wrap the video, I think for me, one thing that truly fascinates me is I really want to know what's going to happen after this. In other words, now that the white Jews and the white wealthy Jews have decided to make a temporary truce with white conservatives, okay, what's going to happen once those goals are achieved? So once white conservatives are able to get rid of DI, get rid of affirmative action, and are able to center anti-racism, and once the white Jews are able to kind of reprioritize anti-Semitism over all other isms, what's going to happen? Is the truce going to last, right? Once the objective of the truce is met, what happens to the truce? That's one thing that's really going to affect us. Because my point of view, what I think is going to happen is that once the objectives of the truce is met, especially white conservatives will throw the white Jews on the bus, and they will go right back to Jews are not white. They'll go right back to all of the anti-Semitic tropes. In fact, they'll probably be more vicious about it too. That's my prediction. That the only reason why white conservatives are even accepting this truce of white Jews because they feel like it's necessary to achieve the objectives. But I personally believe that once the objectives are done, especially from white conservatives, they will throw the Jews on the bus, the white Jews on the bus, and they'll go right back to the same rhetoric. They'll go right back to talking about, there are too many Jews in these positions. So it's funny, right? But right now, in the current moment, it seems like both sides have agreed to a truce to go at the white left, to go at the white left social infrastructure, to go at non-white, and to specifically target black people, because from their point of view, there are too many niggers in these places, and there are too many black people out here, criticizing Israel and being pro-Palestinian. So prepare yourself for that. But I just wanted to kind of get on this because I feel like, in this entire Claudine Gay situation, in this entire caution about, DI and stuff, I feel like nobody is really talking about the elephant in the room. What's really happening is that ever since October 7, we've seen a lot of, people on the left criticizing Israel in regards to Palestinians, and a lot of white Jews have made a temporary truce. The wealthy white Jews have made a temporary truce with the white conservatives to essentially go at the left. Right, to go at these social interests of the left, specifically non-white and specifically black folks, because a lot of the pro-Palestinian stuff, right, was being associated with black people. So nobody's talking about the real reason why this is happening, right? Because there's always been this whole thing about anti-white racism on the right, but it was always fringe. The only reason it's being mainstream now is because they've made this truce with the white Jews, especially the white wealthy Jews. Right, in exchange for them going at the white left, in exchange for them going at those who criticize Israel, in exchange for them reprioritizing anti-Semitism over all other isms, in exchange for them going after non-white, especially black folks. That's what it is. So y'all, just want to put that in mind. So when you guys are online and you hear all these comments about plagiarism, about all, that's not what it's about, right? What it's about is white Jews, white conservatives making a temporary truce to go at DI, to go at diversity stuff, to go at all of this anti-racism, and for the Jews to essentially go at all of the left who has been criticizing Israel, to go at the people who've been talking about how they're pro-Palestinians, and to specifically target. I mean, it's so weird because like the white Jews and the white conservatives are targeting black folks specifically for different reasons. The white Jews are targeting black people because they view black people as being the face of pro-Palestinians, and the white conservatives are going at black people because once again, Historically, whenever they see too many niggers in places, that's a problem. So it is what it is, right? But with that being said, y'all, tell me in the chat what you guys think about it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Hammer out.